Hi, everybody. I'm Taylor of the Sheepish Goat. You're watching the channel. I always get nervous, if you can't feel my energy. I always get nervous before I make these because I feel like I always forget how to talk. I know that's not true because words can continue to come out of my mouth even though I don't know what I'm saying. But I always am nervous that it will just stop and I'll be stuck in the mind palace. So, today we are talking about I want to explain really fast why I'm specifically nervous in this video. I'm specifically nervous in this video because generally speaking, right over here, I have my iPad. And when I have my iPad, I usually have a bulleted list of the things that I can say to kind of keep me on track. Again, it's not like sentences, it's just a few points so I know kind of where I'm going. And I develop those as the more I think about a topic and something I want to talk about. In this video today, what we're talking about, because I should probably get to that so you know what you're watching. In this video, I want to talk about the importance of recording your life. I think that's the best way to say it. And I think that's the main thing that I've been able to, figure out from thinking is just how I want to succinct the ideas that I'm feeling, because I have no bulleted list today. I have no exact steps of the order in which I should probably talk about things because it feels like a big thing because it's been so impactful and it feels so encompassing of my life. But I don't really know how to do that, but I feel an innate call to talk about it, hence why I am here and you may be watching this. You could be one of the 50 people watching, and if so, congratulations. You've done a great job today by watching this video. Should we get into it? I think we probably should. Recording your life. That is very broad because it's supposed to be broad. I think, as always, I'm going to start with my childhood because it's relevant and I think it's important to where I am today. It's very obvious that I record videos on here. You're watching one. But me and the idea of recording my life has not been something that's been very active or very, on the brain for a long time. As a kid, I, had no means of doing that. I never had a diary or anything growing up, right? I didn't have any way of actively recording my thoughts and ideas and looking back at those. Like, none of that existed. The only way in which I could personally be in charge of something like that I had the mental facility to be aware of that, was through my art. When I would make a piece of art, I usually save every single thing I made. I didn't really like giving my stuff away because it was so from me, right? I figured that out later. But looking back at my old art lets me feel like I can tap into like a time capsule, right? It lets me like look at a younger version of myself, even through a very small lens. But other than that, I really had no way of recording myself. That being said, as a child, I was on camera quite a lot. My parents would record holidays, birthdays, some random moments. So I have like a lot of old footage of myself as a kid, up until my parents basically split up and then it stopped. So I think I have like very consistently up until 7 or 8, a couple sporadic things up until like 10 to 12, very sporadic, and it totally stops. But as a kid watching myself, it's funny because, I'm very much the same and very much different than who I am today. I'm very much the same as my core self, which most people don't get to see unless I feel truly comfortable with you, unless I feel as if I am in a place where it is okay to be myself. Because for a long time, it didn't feel okay to really be myself. Generally speaking, I'm the solidified version, right? I'm the one in control. I'm very calm. I'm very aware. I watch. I pay attention. That is me, but I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of kind of like chaos under the surface. I like to be goofy and play. but I don't get to be that way with many people. So if you know me like that, congratulations, you're one of the few. But to the point, I was on camera a lot. And from watching it back, because I go through periods where I kind of remaster my old home footage, and I'm digitized it and I'm preserving it in XYZ, but it's a lot of freaking work, so it's not all at once. But as I do that and as I watch those videos, right, there's a lot of things that come up, but I think for me, the most important thing is obviously myself. And I can look at myself and see how much I really liked being on camera. I was a big ham. I really liked the attention. Go figure. But I did. I loved to basically act for the camera. And watching it now is so funny because I get that perspective of who I was. Because without that footage, I would never know who I was. I mean, I've asked my mom. I bring up my mom a lot in these because I haven't really had the exact same conversations with my dad. But that doesn't mean that I'm trying to insult my mom. I'm just clarifying. But I've asked my mom, kind of like who I was as a kid, what she remembers, and she doesn't remember a lot. And if I were to be reflective, if I was going to be waiting for someone else to tell me who I was, right, even in the sense of now, I would never find out who I am because no one's able to see you as you truly are. You will never know someone better than they know themselves, right? I will always know me better than the way you know me because I can see all of me. And maybe not everybody can do that. Maybe not everybody is aware of their full true self, right? A lot of people run and hide from themselves. But the one way in which I think you can really be aware of yourself is through recording your life, which is why I wanted to make this video. So in watching those back, it's lovely because I can see a past version of myself, right? But that is a time capsule. That is a moment in time. It's indicative of who I am. It's indicative of who I could be, but it is not necessarily me in the moment, and not in every moment, right? Because I think very often I'm very different from moment to moment. Most people definitely can do that, right? Like you're not going to act the same way with one person as another. You're going to go through mood swings. Some days you're happy, some days you're not. So to say that like that was me always as a kid is also not true. But let's talk about the idea, like I said, of recording your life. Because while I had that as a kid, I had that video, that didn't persist throughout my entire life, right? At some point, recording my life stopped. There would be pictures of me through different things, but it's not like there was like the tangible footage. Again, I didn't have a diary. I have my art, but it's so limited because I don't see myself. I see more of maybe my ideas, which again is interesting, but it's not a full snapshot. It's not a full picture, a full video. I remember when I started, when I would get like my first phone and I had my first couple phones, I would record videos all the time on my phone. I don't think I would take a lot of pictures of myself necessarily because it always feels strange, or it always did, right? It's like, why are you doing that face? And what if someone sees the pictures you took of yourself? Oh God. But I would take video of just me doing like random things and playing and like, like little skits and stuff because I found it really fun because I always liked that. It felt like an opportunity for me to express myself. So that would happen a little bit as I would be, with my phone and stuff. But the truth is that I never really actively recorded any part of my life. It was all so passive. It was also, say cheese for the camera. That's always what it had been. And the reason I really realized that is because once I was in my previous relationship and that went sour and super depressed and it ended, there was a big part of my life where I didn't have anything of me. There was basically nothing to show I was alive for like 6 years, outside of a few small attempts for me to maybe make a YouTube video that I was always too self-conscious to do, or family photos in which, hey, say cheese. But saying cheese only goes so far. And I came to the point where I realized that there are no pictures of me. I have no diary. I don't talk to anybody about the way that I feel and the things that I'm going through, so they just sit inside of me. And I don't really know what to do with those, so I sort of don't exist because I'm so internalized and I'm so shut off from everything else, and there's no evidence in the outside world. Like, who's paying attention to me? I'm waiting for somebody else to pay attention to me. And I realized how sad and depressing that was. So when I started going to therapy, well, I'll start here. I did start eventually recording myself, and that's because I wanted to make a YouTube channel. Let's start on that. When I wanted to make a YouTube channel, it was this thing I thought about for such a long time. My perfectionist brain prevented me from doing it. I felt really insecure. I didn't have the self-worth and confidence to proceed with something like that, to really say like, hey, I can stand behind my creative choice. I couldn't do that. Eventually got there through self-help and trying to actively be a part of my life, right? Not waiting for someone to say cheese, actively stepping up to do the work. So when I started making videos, I wasn't even in my first video. I am, but like not on camera. My first video was me doing a drawing. I had already previously drawn it, and I'm just talking over it. And you can hear the nervousness in my voice, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing, and this is weird, but I'm talking, right? And I believe it was essentially my stepdad, David, essentially recommended that I could be in my videos, that I should like maybe actually have a camera on myself and be a part of them. And it's like, yeah, okay, makes me nervous, let's try it. So then I started to be part of my videos. And as I made more, it was fun, right? I was like, oh, cool. I'm on camera. I'm doing this. I'm trying to like push myself, but it never felt 100% right. I felt like I was chasing something, right? I ended up not making videos for me. I ended up making videos for other people. A lot of my early videos was recording my grandpa's life story, which I never finished. Recording trips I've been on, which I never finished, because those eventually hit a wall in which I absolutely wanted to finish those. Like, those were really important to me. They took so much time and so much effort, though, that they took away from the things that I really wanted to do. And when I was in a place where I was so upset, I couldn't think about doing anything other than trying to work on myself, because I had to move forward, because I felt so terrible in the moment. So I put those on the back burner. I tried to make videos for me. I started making videos where I talk about my mental health, where I talk about things that were important to me. And in doing that, I started documenting how I was feeling. This wasn't on purpose. It just happened. The first time I made one of those videos, I had been thinking about like how I was feeling, right? I had been trying to better my life, but like I just intuitively felt overwhelmed with feeling and emotion that I had never talked about before. And I knew that I had to record it in a video. I knew that I had to make a video about it because I could not get it out of my system. I felt physically like choked off and like I had to get it out of my body. So when I made that, it was stressful and nerve-wracking, but I did it, and I got nice feedback, which was great, but it felt so good for me to do that. That every time after that, I was chasing that feeling again to like be more honest, be more vulnerable, share more of myself. So I've worked through that, stopped making videos for a long time, started making videos again that are all more directed in this capacity for something that is me, for something that matters more, that has a message, which is ironic. This probably could almost be another video, but as a kid, I remember like when you talk about art, there's kind of this like stigma of like have something to say with your art. Like that's like the artist mentality of like do something, like have a message, a meaning, be provocative. I never felt like I had that. And it's ironic because I was trying to force like drawing and like all these different artistic practices for so long. Like these are me, like I have to keep doing them because it's kind of how I identified myself. But once I stopped doing those and I started just talking about me, well, then I had a message and a goal. It just randomly appeared. It was never there before. But now like I have to move from that authentic core because I can see it in myself and it matters. And it is like my end all be all goal is to deliver a message that is hopefully resonant for people and it can help them, because I know what it feels like to be lost and to be afraid and to be alone. And I never want anybody else to feel like they have to go through that. It doesn't mean that they won't, but I want them to know that there's another side. And I want them to know that it can be okay and it doesn't have to define your life. Now I'm getting a little tangential here, but I'm trying to stay on topic. I don't know if you remember, I don't have a bulleted list like I said earlier. But let's keep going. So I started making these videos. I started documenting my life. And I would make them and watch myself back. I always watch my videos back. And obviously through editing, recording, of course, but like I'll watch them back multiple times. Maybe not like back to back, but like after posting a video, I'll watch it multiple times. And I've watched some of my old ones back, of course, but like the ones that I always want to watch back are the ones where I'm talking about certain topics and feelings and what I'm going through. I watch those back a lot. I almost always watch the video I made before I record the next one. And I just watch the last one I made right before recording this one. Because it helps me identify with myself, because I listen to the things that I say. It's so incredibly valuable to document your thoughts, to record your life, because I think it's really easy to overlook what you go through and how you feel in a moment. Not only is it important because you can see the growth and you can see the change, but it's important because it's this moment of reflection that lets you see yourself from an outside source, right? So often we're waiting for someone else to say cheese, right? We're waiting for someone else to take a picture of you, to be available to see you in a moment. And that doesn't really happen. If it happens in this exact way, and it's usually very unfulfilling. But if you stop and you start doing it for yourself, if you record how you're feeling, what you're thinking about, then you can watch it back and you can understand why you're struggling. You can view yourself from a secondary perspective, and you can have better understanding of what you're going through. You can have sympathy for yourself, which is kind of insane, but you can. So when I started going to therapy, which I've been going for 5-6 months now, right? I was working on myself. I was recording these videos. I was trying to better my life, trying to get to a point that made me happy. But I went to therapy because I couldn't figure out how to do it. I couldn't get past the hurdle. I couldn't get to the point where I was just happy, which is a fallacy, and I've talked about. Check out some of my older videos. But I started doing things in therapy, which we call CJs. And they were active ways for me to show up for myself. And because I think about things a lot, I actively came to the thought about running. And I realized how crazy it was that I didn't run. Because as a kid or as just like a human being, it's like, it feels so innate to run. It's like, yeah, that's just something humans do, right? Like you walk and you run. You do that all the time. But it's like, no, I didn't run anymore. I never ran unless I was working out, which I wasn't actively doing because my job was extremely physical and tiring. I had no energy when I would come home. It's like, I never run anymore. So it's like, I kind of want to run. And it felt crazy. I was like, is it weird if I just go to the park and start running all of a sudden? I felt insecure about it. I was walking in the park and I had the thought, I'm like, I think I want to run. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I think I want to run. So I started running, right? And when I was running at the park, I felt so exhilarated. I had this dopamine hit. I felt amazing. I was like, holy shit, this is great. And I felt so overwhelmed with joy that my immediate instinct was, and again, this is the point in recording your life. I don't take pictures of myself. I didn't actively record any of my thoughts or feelings at this time. I did videos, but like they were so incredibly different, and they weren't with the awareness of why I'm recording videos now, right? They weren't with this intentionality. They weren't really about me. So I had the immediate thought of like, I want to take a picture of myself. And I don't want to take a picture of myself because somebody tells me that it's okay to take a picture of myself, or like, now is the moment to take a picture, so now you must smile. I was smiling. Ear to ear, I was happier than I had been in months. And I wanted to record that feeling. I said cheese for myself, right? I ran to this pavilion in the park, and I was so happy that I pulled up my phone and I took a picture of myself. And afterwards, I felt so incredibly happy and proud of myself. And looking back at that picture fills me with so much pride and joy because it's such a defining moment for my growth and such a defining moment for how far I can still go. Every time I look at it, it makes me happy. And I talked about that with my therapist, about just how weird it is that I never took a picture because I was happy. I always just pretended to be happy in the pictures that I took. And in coming to that realization, it turned me on to the idea of recording my life and how important it is to actively be the one who is recording your own life, right? As a kid, my parents recorded me on video. And then I would make videos, but then my videos weren't for me. And I would be on stage doing acting because I did acting, and maybe somebody would record the whole performance. But like, it was never me actively trying to record my life to show up for myself, to show that I existed, to show that I mattered. I never did that. So realizing that I could take a picture because I'm happy was profound. So now I go to parks. And every time I go to a park, I love nature. There's going to be a video about nature. Don't worry. But every time I go to a park, and as soon as I feel happy, I just take pictures of me. I take pictures of me in nature because nature makes me happy. And it was funny because I've made videos like documenting travel. And like, I've been in those, right? But like, it was more about the idea of that beauty of recording nature because I find it so beautiful and relaxing and grounding. It makes me feel like I'm part of the world, right? But putting yourself in the things that you find beauty in is so much more impactful than just taking a picture of a fucking tree. And I love trees, okay? But if you're in a picture with the thing that you find beautiful, then you are innately beautiful to yourself. So now when I go to a park, I take pictures of the park. But I take pictures of me in front of cool waterfalls and in front of awesome rocks and beautiful trees because it makes me happy. And every time I look back at those pictures, I smile and I realize what I did and what I'm going through. And like, today might be hard, but like, look, last weekend was awesome. Last weekend was so good because I was at this park and I was having a really good time. I took a picture to show that I was happy. So my videos, let's keep going because this is just going to be an ending train of thoughts, right? But like, my videos now, for me, I try to make videos that have impact and matter to me, right? I try to make videos that I can say something and I can express how I feel. But when I watch my videos back, I'm there for myself in a way that I don't have to rely on other people to be there for me, right? I'm learning from myself all the time. And I have a gratitude journal now, right? Like, my gratitude journal, how that functions is I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for every single day. And I elaborate on why those things matter. That was kind of how it was framed to me. But I went beyond that, and I also record all of the errors. So if I'm writing something and my pencil breaks and I have to erase it, but my eraser is a piece of shit, then I'll put a side note and I'm like, yeah, this eraser is a piece of shit, but that's okay. Or if I forgot a day, I'll still date that day on the page the next day and I'll be like, well, shit, I forgot this one, right? Or I put a note at the bottom about how I'm feeling. And my gratitude journal became essentially a way to document my thoughts. And I find that really interesting because I can read back through that and see every single day how I was feeling, right? So it kind of became a pseudo diary. And moreover than that, I've recently realized in the last couple of weeks, like, not only is it important for me to record videos in this context to help other people, right? Not only is it important for me to record these ideas in my gratitude diary, but there are certain feelings that I maybe aren't relevant to a video right now, right? But like, there's things that I struggle with because I'm a human being. We're all struggling with things all the time. To pretend that we're not is insane. Be vulnerable, people. Be vulnerable. But to pretend that we're not is insane. And I realized how much I was struggling with certain things, and I didn't know what to do with that feeling. I didn't want to dump all of that weight onto somebody else. I knew that I could process it, but I couldn't figure out how. I had this weight in my chest. I tried to relax. I tried to meditate. It would help. It absolutely would help, but I still have all of these feelings that I can't actively do anything with right now. And it's okay that I feel that. I'm not trying to remove the feelings. I'm not trying to bury it and detach from reality. I'm trying to record how I feel. So Now what I've been doing is I'll just make a video for myself. I'll record myself and I'll talk about exactly how I feel about this thing. And I'll just talk through the whole thing. And not only is it important, obviously, to talk to yourself, that was my last video, but it's important to watch that back. I've done that, and I've done that for one specific topic, which I'm not going to touch on. I recorded myself how I was feeling. 3 months have passed. I recorded another video about how I'm feeling about that same topic. And to watch those back to back is amazing, because it's crazy how much time has passed. It's crazy how different I feel, where my perspective at when I made that first video, what my perspective is now, what I'm still working through and struggling with, what I hope for in the future. I learn from myself all the time. And I would have never done that if I didn't record my life, if I wasn't actively making sure that I existed and mattered in the world. Even if nobody sees it, right? Like, that video doesn't need to be for YouTube. Maybe it will be someday if the message is relevant. But I made it for me because it helps me process how I'm feeling, because it shows me that, like, it's okay that I'm struggling. And I can validate myself. I can say cheese to the camera for me. I don't have to wait for somebody else. So that was a lot. And yeah, I didn't know what I was going to say when I made this video. Sometimes thoughts come out. But the important thing is that I recorded exactly how I feel. I let myself express those things. I'm sharing it with you because I think it's important for you to see. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't always have to be 100% clear. I hope that it does help. But saying how you feel, expressing it, being active, being a part of your life, being the one to actively say, hey, I matter today. And I'm going to show myself I matter because I'm going to take a picture of myself. I'm going to show myself I matter because I'm going to write it down in my diary. I'm going to show myself I matter because I'm going to record a video. Record your life because you matter, not for anybody else. And if you do that, I think you'll work towards happiness. I think, if anything, you can find contentment. And I know, most importantly, that you'll see yourself as exactly who you are. In this moment, in the past, in the future, you'll find you. Yeah, you'll find you. So, until next time, everybody. Love you. Bye.